So, how to stop your RC car tyres from ballooning? Well, in this video guys, I'm going to show you step by step exactly how you can prevent your RC car tyres from ballooning. Nice and simple tip this one guys. I do it step by step, so it should be very easy to follow, but do follow the different steps sort of fairly diligently. I don't put an awful lot of finesse into it, but there's certain things like not gluing the tyres on when you've done step one is the first thing. So don't rush this job, watch the whole thing before it, and I guarantee your tyres will not be ballooning anywhere near as much after you watch this video. And if you like it, as ever, please do subscribe and by all means give it the thumbs up. That's the kind of thing that can happen. Oh dear Richie, look what's happened. The tyres are ballooned that much they've come off the rims. Well, this is for very good reason, because guys, these tyres were never stuck to the rims in the first place, because I bought these off of Amazon, fairly cheap set, because I wanted to use them to show you exactly how to stop RC tyres from ballooning. But in order to do that, I needed to buy some wheels and tyres with the tyres not glued to the rims. I'll just play that back in slow-mo so you can see exactly how high those tyres balloon to and exactly what happened to them. It just shows the pressure the tyres come under when they're ballooning, even when they're glued to the rims. These weren't glued to the rims, but you get the idea. Anyway, let's have a look at that slow-mo. Now, even though the tyres aren't glued on, note how much they balloon before my mod. I'm also going to do a video afterwards showing how little they balloon after the mod. Okay, well that's the before bit of the demonstration, if you like, over. So now let's move on to how to stop your RC car tyres from ballooning. Well, just as a thought guys, I often use the phrase, I do this stuff so you don't have to. This is done in a kind of controlled environment with the car off the floor in a workshop. But can you imagine if that tyre had come off the rim when you were using it outside? This is the Armour Senton, which can do 60-65 miles an hour flat out. Tyre coming off the rim at that kind of speed could have been absolutely catastrophic for this car. It could bounce anywhere completely out of control, more to the point it could go out of control and hit somebody. So, a worthwhile demonstration nonetheless. Anyway, onto that tyre issue. So why is tyre ballooning such an issue? Well, this is one of the, I'm doing this project actually because this is one of my Armour Granite tyres, and if you watch the video where I did the 4S run of this the other day, this thing was the size of like a giant pizza cutter, which made the front of the car very, very unstable. It was literally just skimming along on maybe like a 5mm of rubber touching the pavement. The thing was very, very dangerous indeed. So I want to limit these tyres from ballooning. However, these ones, people say, oh, tape them up, Richie, or something like that, put tape on the inside of them. Guys, these tyres are glued to the rims, hence, in order to stop them ballooning, I need to get some tyres that aren't glued to the rims in order to be able to modify them. Hope that makes sense, but we'll do shortly after this demo. Okay, well the first thing I'm going to do, take all of these tyres and the foam inserts completely off the rim. I'm going to remove the foam inserts in just 1 second. That demo at the start very helpfully helped to remove a couple of the tyre rims anyway. So there we are, that's all of the tyres off. Next stage is I want to get the foam inserts out. Be careful with these because you don't want to damage those, otherwise there will be an absolute pig to get back into the tyres. And make sure you keep those the right way so they're not turning inside out, because we want those to go back in exactly the same way they came out. So we've now got all of our four wheels and tyres separated, foam inserts completely removed. So now we're going to turn every tyre completely inside out. Some of you may know what's coming here. As I said, people have said to me, oh Richie, your tyres are ballooning, you need to ban them, you need to do this and that with them. But the thing being, I like buying tyres that are pre-glued to the wheels out of the factory, but as you push the limit with these things, you up the power, you up the speed gain. The stock tyres on most of these cars are simply just going to balloon like crazy. Okay, now all four tyres are ready for me to get to work on them. Now the next bit of this project, to my mind, is not absolutely essential. What you can do is spray a cleaning fluid on the outside of the tyre and wipe that down and leave it to dry. Whatever you do, do not use WD-40 on there, because it will leave a residue on the inside of the tyre, and what you're trying to do is get but if you're using a cleaning spray, is get everything off of the tyre so that this is a nice dry clean surface. So you can now take your cleaning spray and spray that on the inside of the tyre and wipe off the residue. But these tyres are very clean, they're absolutely brand new, so to be honest guys, I'm not going to bother. But if you've got a set of used tyres, then you might want to consider cleaning any dirt or muck off the inside of them. But why anybody would be driving around on a set of tyres which aren't glued to rims in the first place is beyond me. So I guess most of us have been doing this with fairly fresh tyres, in which case, to my mind, not a lot of point in using the cleaning spray. Okay, now for the next step, the two things you're going to need: some crazy glue, or in my case tyre glue. Now somebody did advise not using tyre glue on the inside of the tyres when aiding in helping sticking the tape down. They advise using a CA based glue like crazy glue. Tyre glue is CA based, guys. Anyway, what you're also going to need is some duct tape, or in my case I've got clear Gorilla Tape here, but although any kind of duct tape would do, but this clear stuff is nice and thin and very, very strong at the same time. Now, you could just stick your Gorilla Tape, your duct tape to the outside of the tyre without using any kind of crazy glue, any kind of tyre glue whatsoever, but I'm going to put that on just to give it that extra bit of bond. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to put the tape on the outside, what is now the outside of the tyre, and then I'm going to turn it back the right way round, so that tape will be on the inside, holding it and stopping the tyre from ballooning, or certainly limiting the tyre from ballooning. So I'm going to use a little bit of tyre glue, liberally drizzle around the outside, and then stick my Gorilla Tape on, my duct tape on, over the outside of the tyre. And then the next bit is where a modicum of skill comes in, is you want to keep the tape as sort of straight as possible when going around the tyre. Now for me to do that, guys, I'm going to need to concentrate, so I'm going to turn the camera off for a second while I do that. Okay, now there's the basics of it. I had to keep that very straight, as you can appreciate, guys, going around the tyre. You want it as towards the centre as possible, you don't want it drifting off to one side. I've got a tiny bit of overlap on the tape here, which I think you want. Undoubtedly some armchair expert out there will tell me different to that. But that's what works for me, to my mind. Then the tape, as the thing comes under load from the G-force of it, the tape is going to be wanting to pull against each other and stick on there. Whereas if the ends were apart on there, as the G-force builds up, they're immediately going to pull the two ends apart. Whereas at least you've got them one over the other, they're going to want to grip a bit more on there. I'm now very carefully going to push with my fingers right all the way around the tape onto the tyre. Not going to be perfect, but because this tyre is ribbed on the inside. With a smoother tyre, it would be a lot more simple. Okay, well there we go. Not overly pretty, but I'm the kind of just get it done guy. There will undoubtedly be people watch this video saying, no, you don't want to do it like that, you want to do it like this. Well fine, add your comments on there, guys. But my question to you would be, if you know exactly how to do this job in the first place, why are you watching this video? Do I make my point there, guys? So, I'm going to kind of just get it done type of guy on here. I'm not worried that it doesn't look absolutely perfect on here. I just focused on getting that tape around the tyre, turn the thing inside out, and let's see how we get on. Now the main thing being, the proof being in the pudding, so to speak, is if that tyre turns around and all my tape is still nicely attached to the inside, which it is. Nothing's come unstuck on there. Now I'm going to go around with my fingers, pressing on each of the edges around here, because it will now stick better on the inside when it's turned the right way around. Then I'm going to flip it over, go back the other way, go right the way around the tyre. I'm going to do that with each of the 4 tyres. So effectively putting a band. You think on a road car, guys, you've got, your road car tyres don't balloon like this because they've got a steel band right the way around the inside of the tyre, actually built into the tyre itself. Now there's a thought, why doesn't somebody do that with RC car ones? One easy way of course to do that is just to go around like that, guys, pushing the thing down nice and tight on the inside. Job done for the first tyre. 3 more to go. Okay, now I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the other 3 tyres. The main thing, guys, is keeping that tape as central as possible so you're not going to overlap to one side or the other when you're doing it. And exactly the same thing with this second tyre, just going around pushing that down. I've put a little bit more glue on this one, just pushing that right the way down all around the tyre. As I said, not great deal of finesse about this. I'm sure people will do far more perfect a job, etc. But at the end of the day, who cares? It's on the inside of the tyre, for goodness sake. As long as it's stuck down roughly, I'm not too worried. Okay, tyre number 2, well on its way to being done. You will know if it's gone well or not if the fact that you can turn the tyre inside out and the tape doesn't go flying apart everywhere, glue leaking out everywhere on the side. So just going through, doing that, just using my fingers, pushing the inside edge of the tyre down to get that to glue on there. Anyway, that is enough of that. I'm going to go and do the other 2 off camera and come back to you in a second. Okay, well, all my 4 tyres are now got the glue and the tape around the inside, the tape obviously being the important thing on there. So I'm just going to fit the foam inserts back on all 4 tyres. Now the one thing I would point out is at this stage is if you've used like an excessive amount of glue, let it dry for a few minutes or sort of 15 minutes or so before putting the foam back in. Otherwise the foam may get stuck on the glue and you can end up with an uneven load balance on the inside of the tyre, if that makes sense. Well, that's the last of my foam inserts in on the tyres. By the way, these 4 tyres are only about $22 on Amazon. Link to them below the video if anybody should want any after seeing the results of this test. Now at this stage, I would say time to put the wheels back in, but I'm going to leave that glue and the stuff to set overnight. The foam that I've just put back into the tyres is helping to push the tape up against the edge of the inside of the tyres. So I'm not in any rush to do this job, and I won't suggest you are either. So I'm going to leave those overnight, come back to them in the morning and put the wheels in. Well, I've done the first step in how to stop the tyres ballooning, putting the tape on the inside. So I've yet to glue them to the rim because I just want to do a test, quick spin up, and just to see how little or how much they balloon. Now I've put the tape on the inside before I glue them on there, because I don't want to glue them on there and then find they still balloon like crazy because the tape's not sticking enough, etc. on there. So it makes sense to test them with them still not glued to the rim. So I'm going to hold the car down, give a quick whip on the throttle and see how we get on. Now they are moving a bit, but that's not because that's mainly because they're still not glued to the rims, but they are ballooning nowhere near as much. So that gives me enough confidence to glue the tyres in place, leave them setting overnight, and then we'll come out in the morning and have a full-on test and see just how much or how little they balloon. Okay, now for the testing as to whether my method of how to stop your RC car tyres from ballooning has worked. Just going to do a quick spin up on the centre. Okay, just going to hold it nice and steady, just to give it a quick boost on the throttle. Well, now immediately, I'm not just going to give a quick blip on the throttle, see? Now that was testing it actually running flat out there. They are ballooning substantially less. I mean, they're coming up a little bit, but that is way, way less than they were if you remember, like pizza cutter size things being before. But watch this. Very, very impressed. So, you want to stop your RC car tyres from ballooning? Now you know the way to do it. It doesn't need a lot of finesse there, guys. As I've done it step by step in order to, as I say, taping the wheels and then putting them on unglued, just to see how much they balloon or not before putting them back on, because obviously once you glue them, that's it, they're done. So if you've not done the taping well enough, you're going to have major issues then with getting the tyres off the rims. Well, I hope you found that video on how to stop RC car tyres from ballooning useful. If you're not a subscriber, then do consider subscribing, and if you found it useful, by all means share with friends on social media. We hope you liked this video. If you did, please click on the circle image to subscribe. And if you hit subscribe, then don't forget to hit that little notifications bell next to it.